The summer of 1996, I was invited on a 2-week expedition to Peru. I was invited to work with the Chippewa Indians, who were also medicine healers as well as the artisans. My then fiance, and I've had 3, invited me as part of his work on alternative health practices in working with indigenous cultures. Now, I was an LA girl in those days, and although I was a community leader in my feminist circles and my artist circles, I really didn't know much about alternative health practices. But I felt the call of the jungle in my veins, and this was an adventure I did not want to pass up. So like any good traveler, I set out to be prepared. I decided I was going to find out everything I could about the Amazon jungle because I was going to be living in the depths for a week with these native Indians. So I read every book I could find on the Amazon. I learned about the poisonous snakes, the insects, and perhaps some of the animals that I might encounter in the jungle. I got my immunization shots. I got all my paperwork. By the way, I even simplified my diet. Worst 2 weeks of my life, giving up sugar and coffee. I'll never do that again. So I didn't want to be that American girl screaming with flying roaches in her hair. I wanted to prove to myself that I could be woman enough to handle the jungle. Maybe impress this Rochester guy that this LA girl could handle it all. First day out on our adventure, I land in Lima, Peru, the capital, only to encounter my new travel buddies. And then we slept for 8 hours in the airport to then board a small, tiny plane to Iquitos with families carrying chickens and goats. Yes, goats. Now, we land in Iquitos and we're rushed off into this bus. And we're now driving into the depths of the Amazon jungle. And it's beautiful, but yet overwhelmingly intense. Green forest, green canopy, overwhelming. And the road is turned blood red, new with being turned over. We get to this sort of intersection of this gathering in the jungle, and we're met by Francisco, the medicine man, and Yolanda, his wife, the artist, and about a dozen Chippewa Indians. Now, we are told we have a 2-hour hike into the jungle. Wait a minute. This LA girl didn't think I could do it, and for a split second I doubted myself. But then the hospitality of these people immediately began to pick up our bags. And my 4 Gucci bags were picked up by 2 women elders twice my age. One held them on her head, and they began traversing through the jungle floor like hip-hop modern-day dancers. We could barely keep up, me and my friends, and for 2 hours we went deep into the forest. We got to their village, and after resting and settling in the next day, we were so eager to get out and explore our new home. Now, I jumped out and began to walk on the 2 feet above ground catwalks that connected all the huts in this small village. And I made my way to the kitchen hut, the furthest hut from all the others. And after playing with the chickens for a few minutes, I asked the women if I could be of service. They giggled, and one picked up a chicken and with one chop killed it and handed it to me, showing me how to pluck it. I watched these women all working together, each one doing her part until the task was done. And by the way, it was the best chicken soup I've ever had for lunch. Afterwards, we set out to explore the canopy, and I came upon the women washing clothes by the river's edge. 2 others were throwing fish nets, catching small fish, while others gathered vegetables and herbs in the gardens surrounding. We made our way back to the village, and then I was invited to the women's hut. This is a sacred space for women only, I was told. The women gather there to talk about all the challenges their community faces and how to overcome them. Sleeping in a hammock was a mother with a newborn, and on a cot was a teen girl just napping because she was on her moon time. The women told stories, and I listened. And then an elder grandmother held out the last of her 1920s lipstick, and she gave me the blessing of love coloring my cheeks and my lips. I spent many hours listening to their stories. The week passed, and towards the end, we were invited out to the farmer's market. Now, I don't know about you, shopping is one of my favorite things to do when I travel. And after I gathered all of the trinkets, I went over to this woman selling the largest papayas I have ever seen. Now, I kept hearing a baby cry, but I didn't see any. And she was so diligent, servicing 3 customers while 2 little ones were meeting at her and patting their heads with loving kindness. After I gave her my peso, I realized where that baby was. Deep in her sarapa, that woman had been nursing her baby, doing business, perfectly balancing work, life into everyday existence. I spent a week among women working together to fill the basic need that a community needs to thrive. I was gifted with the name Mama Sacha Mama, which means she who loves the jungle. For I came to learn to love the sacred lungs of planet Earth, the Amazon rainforest. On my way back to the United States, while waiting for my connection in Chicago, I went into the bathroom and I found a woman hovered in a corner. These were pre-nursing room years, ladies. And she was there covered up, nursing her child. And we made eye contact for a moment, and I felt her discomfort. You see, as Western women, we are taught that our mothering and our caretaking are invisible and not valued. I was not the same woman anymore. And I wasn't in the jungle, but I smelled and looked like one, though. After I had my daughter, I was very proud to nurse her in public, and I often think of the women of the hut. You see, I am reminded that I have a tribe of women all over the planet who are working daily to balance work, life, and the needs of their family. And when those stresses come up, good or bad, I go with the flow. I stay in the moment, and I contribute positively. By the way, that fiancé and I, we did hook up. I married him 3 times and once in the jungle, but wait, that's another story for another day. Thank you, and buenas noches.